Welcome to the number one friendship podcast in the country. I'm Aaron Cairo.
I'm Matt Ritter.
And make sure to go to manoftheyearpodcast.com to grab our merch and watch our videos and episodes on YouTube. Matt, before we get into it, I have a very rare, we have a correction from the listener. So do you remember in a previous episode that we believed, or you believed, that you coined the phrase, friends are just strangers you haven't met yet?
Yeah, didn't I?
And do you remember who actually coined the phrase?
Yeats in 1920?
It was 1923 Nobel laureate W.B. Yeats. We got a listener correction from my sister, Karen. It's actually W.B. Yeats.
Okay. So first off, that's what I originally thought. But then, because I never heard of a guy named Yeats. I only knew of Yeats, but I didn't want to sound like I was an ignoramus. I was just playing along with your ignoramus pronunciation, and Karen now clowned us both.
You know what they say about making assumptions? Me and you look like idiots.
Yeah. And you're gonna know, and you know what else they say? You're gonna know more about poetry from the liberal arts Ivies like Dartmouth.
I'm not even touching that. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
So Matt, as you know, there's a new law in LA where you can't park within 20 feet of an intersection. Are you aware of this?
Oh, we're getting into this. Ooh.
Well, that's just my lead into I actually think, I mean, it's going to make parking harder, but some of the intersections in LA are insane to cross, both in the car and on foot. But my rant is that when people park and they don't pull up all the way forward or all the way back, so they take up 2 parking spots. That drives me nuts. When I park, I get out, I see how far I can get up or back so that another car can get in front ahead of me, and then only then do I leave. I'm sure you've never even thought about this. You toss your keys to the valet or whatever the fuck you do. But like, I cannot stand it when people take up 2 spots. End of rant.
Side note, I didn't even realize that everybody thinks of me this way. I mean, I guess I should know that, but my writer friends and actor friends, Adam and Sam, are both Canadian.
Yeah.
They have like a running joke about how whenever we meet up for our dinners, like they know that I'm going to get there first because I don't even drive around the block, half a block, looking for a spot.
You just go right to valet.
Yeah, they think it's hilarious that I go straight to the valet.
It's interesting because I either go straight to the valet, I don't even look at all, or I'm committed, I'm circling for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm committed to never looking for a spot.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that was my MO. It didn't occur to me. I just do it now just because of it's just, I don't know, man. LA, it's hard to find parking.
I call valet cost of doing business. It's not like we valet that often, you know.
I barely go out as it is.
Right,
That's why
right.
I'm like, well, guys, I'm not going out that much, you know.
Right.
Give me a break. But I will say I do care about spots. I take that as a slight. I am a citizen of the world. I care about my fellow citizen. I think there's common decency. But I will say there's a misconception, I think, about who's at fault when you're parking. So I think you're actually missing there's a logical flaw with what you're saying. You know what it is?
Well, that there's not spots like marked out on the ground.
No, that you don't know who parked before that person parked.
Oh,
it
yes.
Could have caused their park. So a lot of times you'll go into a parking lot, right? And it's like, oh my God, this person parked like on the line.
Totally.
And it might entirely be because the person before them parked on the line and they did it because the person before them. And then you're like, I should key their car.
Well, but
dude, you don't know that they're even the person that caused this.
I'm going to counterpoint you, Matthew. That doesn't, why that is true. That doesn't apply when you're the first or the last person on the block.
When you're the first or last person on the block.
If you're in the last spot all the way at the front of the street, then
yes.
there's right.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Somebody at the second could have parked so close that you're now, too far. Oh, you're saying because yes, I guess that's true because it wouldn't matter if you were parked too far forward.
Right. You have to park 1 inch from the red.
Yes, I agree. I agree that it starts with the corners then.
Yeah. But also
they're the leaders. You're the leader of the block.
Yeah, exactly. But if you pull into a spot, me and you, and there's a 2-spot gap,
yep,
regardless, it's our responsibility as citizens of the world to leave another spot in that gap.
I agree with that
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
In fact, I agree that you should park it, but the flip side is a lot of people are just not good at measuring. They want to make sure their first priority is making sure they get out easily.
Oh,
So I know some people, like, I just remember, like, I feel like my dad's era, all the dads would go like nose to nose. And
oh
just
yeah,
like, that was
touching, tip to
touch
tip.
it, like tip to tip. It was like something like that was the way you did it. You got to get as close as possible without going over. Like the price is right for parking for men.
Matt, I don't know. I don't even think did I tell you I got a new car?
No.
It, you're going to love this. Auto parallel park.
The auto parallel
You
parks?
pull up and it parallel parks for you.
What? Why come you can't just drive for? So it can just drive for you.
It doesn't. No, it can't. It's not a Tesla. It doesn't have self-driving. It can just parallel park.
Wow. You ever see those cars from 100 years ago where they had this second wheel that came out and did it?
And it kind of went like, oh
The trunk
yeah.
wheel that would like slide down and just slide into the spot. Why don't they have that? Why is technology on cars better 100 years ago?
We're going backwards, Matt.
Yeah, we are. Wow. I hadn't thought about LA driving parking stuff in a while. Did somebody screw you over recently? Is that what happened?
No, because the law came out and I'm like, oh, it's going to make this problem even worse.
Oh, it's definitely going to exacerbate that problem.
Right. Right. I mean, people just, I look out of the street all day and people just pull in and they leave 5 feet before the next driveway.
It's the sign of a decaying empire.
Oh, this is what happened before ancient Rome. They parked the fucking chariot.
Late stage Rome. They parked the chariot everywhere, and just suddenly it was like, dude, there were room for 7 chariots here.
Oh God, late stage Rome. I mean, they probably had like, what else was in late stage Rome? Like sponsorships on the togas.
Oh, they were all logoed up. You think it was all like, oh, here's like, what teams did they have? Like
gladiators,
Sparta, right? So Sparta, like the Spartan Wheel Company.
Yeah. Right. Oh,
and
man.
like the Athenian javelin. That's Greece. That's Greek. I already screwed up. Can't even think of any other Roman cities.
Anyway, so that was a fun little sojourn. I wanted to talk about today's topic, which I think is I can't even remember if we talked about it in the pod, but I think it's one of my favorite pieces of advice. So in the context of work, we often say dress for the job you want. And we've started to encourage people to treat people like they're already your good friends. So it's like the dress for the job you want of friendship. If you have someone in your life who's a fringe friend or you're not as close with, just start treating them like they are a close friend and they will become a close friend.
I love this. We discovered this ourselves. I don't know. When did we, like a year ago?
This is, I believe, a Newton and Leibniz situation. I'm sure Karen will say I'm pronouncing Leibniz wrong, Leibniz. And that we started talking about it, and I want to give credit to this Washington Post article from a writer's called Allison Raskin.
Oh, Karen's done a number on you. Now you're mispronouncing.
Yeah. You know what, Matt? I'm going to actually backtrack and give ourselves credit. We named it.
We named it. But I've noticed myself doing it. I don't know if it's one of those things where once you start talking about it, you notice that you were already doing it, or if you start doing it more. But yeah, I'm all in on it now.
Yeah, I've been doing it recently as well. And just to give an example, Allison says like she will basically like unilaterally send updates or she will check in with people who maybe necessarily aren't super inner circle yet. And she just treats them like they are. And then eventually they start responding and then they are.
Yeah. I've been doing that with the kind of new dad friends at school that I've made recently.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like, you meet them in these interaction zones that are very fringe friendly, outsidery, drop off, pick up, but sometimes you'll just be hanging around.
Yeah.
And I just treat him like I'm just running into a buddy of mine. And the interaction is just so much better.
Say more about that.
So there's one guy who's like I know he likes the NBA.
Yeah.
And just like I saw him wearing a hat of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we
God,
just
if you see someone wearing an NBA hat, that's like you're like moth to a flame.
well, yeah, because they're an NBA like he was wearing like a retro one, so I knew he was a junkie. So we're just like deep ending it, like deep end NBA, like the stuff you only talk about with your close, like just the way that we were interacting was like the way that I talked to my other like closest friends that are NBA junkies.
Out of curiosity, this random guy we're making an example of, do you have his number?
I do have his number,
Hmm.
and he's hosting like he runs a music venue and they do like a kids thing for the Beatles, and he's hosting it, so I'm going to.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a kids music venue?
No,
Oh,
just a kids night. No, you can't. I don't think you could fill a kids music venue, and actually, I guess you could. Not a
yeah.
five. I don't know. Could you fill a 500 seat music venue if you just did kid stuff every night? I don't know.
Yeah, 250 parents and 250 kids. I don't know.
Maybe. So anyway, so that's just one. Have you been finding yourself doing that, and like, what are some examples where you did that? Like,
Yeah, we've had some recent calamities here in LA, obviously, and I was kind of sending sort of photos and updates to people who you wouldn't necessarily be that front line of updates. And to be honest, I kind of did it subconsciously. I was like, oh, I like this person. I'm just going to tell them tell them what's going on. And it kind of just like, it's almost like a mind trick.
yeah, absolutely. That's all it is. But let's talk about the specifics for our listeners. What are some actual action items that they can do? What does that mean specifically? Treat somebody like they're already a friend, right? What are the sort of categories that we can list off for them for that?
So one thing Allison talks about is sort of, she talks about like doing maybe favors or being very helpful. Like a friend had a new kid and she brought over some supplies, whatever people do for kids, like maybe not overstepping, that's the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying, more than a person of her stature would normally do.
Okay, I like that. So on the actual doing for friends,
Yeah.
things that you would normally just do for your closer friends.
This sort of falls. I want to get your take on this. Like, we have talked a million times about didn't we talk recently about the percentage? Friendships are not about keeping score.
Yep.
And you, I think, smartly were like, as long as it's within like a 75-30, like
Yeah.
you're giving and taking. And she's basically kind of said like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to be there for them in this moment.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 80-20, 85-15.
Yep. Yep.
And she's like, because I like it.
Yeah. And that's how you should look at it. And I think, again, we were just coming up with that number just as you're examining more of your long-term friendships, if you're worried that they're kind of going in a weird direction.
Yeah.
But I think some other things, again, we were talking about getting a little more casual, especially when you're, two guys hanging out. You don't want to be in that weird, can I talk openly and just be myself? You want to just be able to do that sooner rather than later. The other thing I think, you can do is go beyond small talk, right? I mean, that's the thing that we're trying to get people to do sooner rather than later. And so to do that is you kind of got to need to know what that person is about. What are they into? What's their, what's going on in their life? Like, I think asking people about their family sooner is always a good one.
Didn't we recently get into like a heated discussion on the pod that you don't think you should ask how your wife's doing?
What?
I can't wait till that episode comes out. I don't think it's come out. You said
that?
Yes, you insisted for 10 minutes about don't ask people about their wives because that people don't want to talk about it.
What?
You don't remember this?
That definitely never happened.
Yeah, it was a lengthy discussion. I can't remember what episode.
Don't ask people about their wives.
Yeah, because if things aren't going well, they don't like it. Are you serious?
No, that never happened. You're totally misconstruing it. I'm sure when it comes out, you'll realize that you were wrong, but then it'll already be forgotten. This is a complete misquote of what we were talking about.
No, never.
It was about I think it was about your kids and something to do with school and stuff?
No, it was about agendas and going out and like seeing your buddies and having things to talk about. And I said, "Oh yeah, you could ask about, their wives." And you go, don't ask about the wives."
No, that never happened. That actually
Yeah.
never happened. We can go. We'll play the clip
Yeah.
in a
Okay,
month when
great.
it comes out.
I think that what do you think about this, Matt? Maybe it's more about sharing than inquiring.
Yes, well, that's part of being the friend, I would say.
Well, no, I mean sharing about yourself.
That's what I'm saying, but I think that falls under being the friend, right? Because everybody is kind of waiting for the moment to take the next step in a friendship, and part of that is getting vulnerable with each other, getting a little deeper. So if you are the first person to do that, you're signaling to the other person, it's okay. We can talk about real stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Another way we describe this, we talk about dressing for the job you want. It's also fake it till you make it, which, you and I, we live in Hollywood, we work in Hollywood. That's our entire ethos, basically, is just acting like you're X until you actually are X. And I think that's the same thing with friendship. It's like if you're gonna do something, if I'm gonna go to a ball game or a concert, I'll hit you. Hey, want to go? Whatever, very casually. There's no reason you can't do that to a fringe friend.
You know what I'm thinking? I love that line, fake it till you make it with friendship. What about the idea of, I don't know how you're going to feel about this one. What about the idea of actually making it seem that you have a healthier friendship circle than you maybe do? Because I think it's more attractive to a potential friend.
How would that be? How would that play out?
Well, I think if you kind of make it seem like you already kind of have an active, healthy social life versus being like, I don't really have any friends.
So lying.
Fake it till you make it. Like you just said. I'm just saying, like when you're just talking about your life, like maybe including the idea that you have friends in your general narrative is maybe healthier to I don't know. This is a new hot take I'm just thinking about.
I
For
mean,
the
to
fake
be fair, I did some version of that recently. So on this past New Year's, a couple of months ago, I was kind of fishing around for some plans, and people will be like, "Oh, what are you up to?" I'll be like, "Oh, like I got a couple things cooking," which was not true,
right. This guy
and
had nothing cooking. He had a crock pot that was empty. It wasn't even there was no outlet. He didn't even have an outlet. He just had a crock
oh
pot.
god,
Doesn't know how to make fire. There was nothing cooking.
it was nothing. So yeah, I guess I've done that on a microcosmic way. Yeah, I got a couple things happening, but just what are you doing?
Right. I was just thinking about just what we're trying to sort of put out in the universe. I think we're trying to put out that like, hey, I'm a normal, healthy person, but I enjoy your company and let's do something, versus like, I have nothing going on, man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that is more about putting out a good vibe
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
pretending.
Right.
Like no one except for Matt Ritter likes a sad sack.
I know, but because you kept saying that, now I've become way more self-aware about it. And the sacks are gone.
Yeah, there's not as many sacks around here
Yeah.
as there used to
I
be.
don't have time. I don't have time for it.
So
I'm
yeah,
sacked.
you don't have time for hashtag sack life. So I actually think that's a good point, Matt. It's like you're projecting an air of positivity, keep it positive, as we say, as opposed to like, hey, I don't really have anything going on.
Yeah, just because I'm just thinking as from the other perspective, the other person that you're trying to make friends with. If they're looking at you and they're like, oh, he doesn't have any friends. This guy's got nothing going on. He's got no friends. It's not like super attractive to be like, oh, I want to go hang out with that person.
How about this for an example? Instead of saying, hey man, you doing anything on Saturday? I've got nothing going on. You go, hey man, the weather looks incredible for Saturday. What are you up to?
Right. Right. I don't think you need to volunteer that you have nothing going on. I think that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I need to volunteer. I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing going on this weekend. So we should hang out.
Yeah. I love it. Should we take a listener question?
Let's do it.
All right, guys. This is hold on. I'm supposed to do a little we'll be right back. We'll be right back. All right, guys, this is asking for a friend. If you have a listener question or ethical dilemma, send it to us on Instagram, Man of the Year Podcast, and we will try to answer it on the show. Okay. Dear Matt and Cairo, I have a question about insecurity. I've recently made a new friend who I really like, and while I enjoy spending time with him, I can't shake the feeling that I'm not good enough. I find myself overanalyzing our interactions, second guessing what I say, and worrying he'll find me boring or annoying. I feel like I'm trying too hard to impress him, and I'm scared I'll push him away. How can I build my confidence, trust in this budding friendship, and let the connection grow naturally?
It's a good question.
Friendship insecurity. We haven't talked about that.
It's a good question. I mean, neither of us are trying to impress each other. We're long past being able to do so. No, but there are those people, you want to be friends with them. Something about them, they're dynamic. They got, they just have a lot going on. You're just like, I want to be that person's friend. And sometimes you do have this like, oh man, am I coming on too strong? Am I trying too hard with this person? I think that's probably happened to all of us.
It's interesting because we obviously don't have the other perspective. Like we have no idea if this is in his head, if the other person doesn't even know he exists. I wonder if he's describing, Matt, we talk about OTF, open to friendship, that we give a lot of advice for making friends and meeting people. It takes two to tango. Some people are just not in a moment in their lives when they're OTF, which is okay. And so when you make all the overtures that we recommend our listeners do, they're just not receptive, and it's nothing to do with you.
Yeah. There are a lot of really awesome people that their friendship card is full.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that's like, oh man, we definitely could be friends. I could see it. I could see us hang out a lot. That's not their reality. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Could that change over time? Sure. Are you okay with you like not getting to hang out with that person whenever you want? That's just sometimes just the reality of the circumstance. But it reminds me of almost like when you're in middle school or high school or whatever, and it's like everybody wants to be friends with the popular guy or the popular girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get over that. You go, oh, I'm happy with, the people who enjoy my time and are, it actually turns out that I don't really want that. I like the idea of that. Sometimes I think sometimes we're attracted to the idea, like the idea that you're describing, like just the way that you're describing this person. That doesn't sound like a real person, because most real people are, they're flawed. Once you get to know them, you're equals. You're in friendship,
I mean, he says, I made a new friend I really like. I enjoy spending time with him. Can't you feel I'm not good enough? This could all be in this person's head.
Yeah.
Like if you're hanging out with this guy, maybe he's fine with it. I don't think this guy's hanging out with you for his health.
Totally. And a lot of times, right. I think that's totally true. That like you're creating this limiting belief in your head that this guy is on some pedestal. You're putting this person on a pedestal, and maybe he thinks that about you.
No, you mean maybe he thinks that about himself?
No, I'm saying maybe the other guy's like, this guy's awesome. Maybe he thinks you're the awesome one.
Well, I thought you were going to say, which is that this is my recommendation, try moving through this relationship like that's not the case. His issues. Just try moving through it like you're fine. You're doing great. Just act normal.
Yeah. I mean, what is the alternative anyway?
Well, the alternative is to keep doing what you're doing and this is like a romantic relationship when you think the other person doesn't like you.
Yeah. Right. But again, you were talking earlier about mindset. Like a lot of what we're talking about is just shift your mindset. Like somebody's hanging out with you. They want to be hanging out with you. They like you.
And no one likes to try hard.
Nobody likes to try hard.
Right. I mean, what does Jason Bateman always say in Smart? It's sexy indifference.
Is that what he says?
Yeah.
Is that another podcast? What is that?
No. That's like his main catchphrase of like The Business. of like, you're, yeah, maybe I'm into this project, sexy. I mean, when you have every possible project.
Right. But I don't think you should be indifferent about your friendships.
That's true. I mean, I think this is half joke of like,
Yeah.
it's fine. You're friends and
Yeah.
uh,
I don't think you should overthink it.
right.
If this person's not making time for you, then, go find somebody else who's making time for you. But if they are, don't think you have to win them over.
Yeah. I mean, what is this guy doing for you?
Being awesome, being handsome, being tall and handsome.
I mean, listen, let's also give credit. This guy made a new friend.
Yeah.
So that's great. He cares enough about it that he's thinking about it. He's being intentional about it.
Yeah. You could also figure out ways to level it up. We talk all the time about being the friend, level it up. You got an extra ticket to something cool, Lakers, bring him.
Yeah, but I think that's the opposite. He's saying he's already doing it.
Oh, if he is already. I don't know if he is. What did he say he's doing? We don't know what he's doing.
Well, he's saying he's second guessing. He's trying too hard to impress him. How can I build my confidence? I think just
build my confidence in the friendship?
Do what feels naturally.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think part of it is you shouldn't have to build confidence in your friendship with somebody if it's a genuine friendship.
Yeah, but it could be early days, and it is early days.
Yeah.
You never know. You don't know where.
But I'm saying you can be active, right? You can
Right.
see if you can get the reciprocity with. That's not try hard to be like, hey, I've got something. You want to join me in this thing? You don't have to be like desperate about it.
Well, this dovetails with our topic. Just pretend like he is your good friend, and that's it. What do you do with your other buddies?
Right, because if you're acting like this person is better than you, or you really want to be their friend, as I said, I think that's a weird dynamic that resonates on the other person in a non-attractive way.
Yeah. I agree. All right. Let us know how this goes. And we would say, just let it be. Let it
patience.
be.
Patience. You gotta have the patience with new friendships too.
All right, guys, that was asking for a friend. If you have a friendship question, send it to us on Instagram and we'll answer it on the show. Matt, what did we learn today?
Well, mostly about LA parking.
Mostly how you just toss the keys to the valet.
Yeah, I'm a valet key tosser.
What do you do about tipping if you don't have cash?
I go, Jesse, scrounge some dollars from your purse. Women have cash in those purses of theirs.
Yeah, I guess they're good for something.
Yeah. No, but I asked for their Venmo.
Their personal Venmo?
Yeah, I asked for their purse. My Venmo is just a bunch of valets.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and like people from the farmers market. Bathroom attendants too now have that.
Well, but the bathroom attendants in the farmers market, they have a little sign.
Yes.
You're saying you say, "Hey, valet, what's your
and
Venmo?"
Actually, a lot of the times that guy doesn't have it, but his head valet guy has it. So I'm like, make sure you get it to him.
I've been stunned into silence because I just imagine.
Am I not the only person that does this? I have no idea.
Just imagine you standing out front of Dan Tana's with your wallet phone.
Yep. Trying to figure out which valet guy is going to give me a Venmo that I can use.
Oh man. And I learned, we talk about use different phrases for it. Fake it till you make it. Dress for the friendship that you want, which is that sometimes you just need to act like this person is already your friend or they're already a close friend. Do what you do with your other buddies. And, Allison makes the point. She's like, she kind of says like, I don't care if I'm quote bothering them. I mean, obviously that's not go too far, but she's like, I'm just going to like send text, check in. And, and it is what it is.
I like that combined with the actual dynamic that you use with your close friends, just the way you talk, the way your body language is. I think making that casual close friend dynamic, that mindset will help you.
Treat everybody like they're your best friend.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. Guys, send us your examples of you faking it till you make it in a friendship dynamic. Thank you guys for listening. Always remember, be good to yourself, be good to your friends. Hey, Matt.
Love you, buddy.